This is VOCM Open Line.
Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626.
The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now.
And good morning, everyone. I trust you're having a good morning this Friday ahead of the weekend. For those who do get the weekend, really surprised on the commute in this morning about how terrible the driving was. Slipping and sliding everywhere. I've never seen so many close encounters in one single commute. So take your time out there. It's going to be a bit of a surprise for anybody traveling across the island coming into the metro region because my understanding is that through Central and that it's pretty good, but it's not so good in here. So what do you think about snow clearing in the St. John's metro region this morning? Not the best by a lot of people's estimation, but what are your thoughts? Give us a call. Well, this was a really eye-opening story released by NL Health Services yesterday. There's been an alarming increase in the incidence of rhabdomyolysis in recent months. So much so that NL Health Services yesterday issued a release warning about overexertion. And what is rhabdo, you might ask? Essentially, it's a breakdown of the skeletal muscle, which is usually caused by extreme overuse. And in this case, through extreme exercise and workouts, pushing yourself way beyond your normal limits. One example I know, because I remember reading this many years ago, is squats. And I remember reading about a case where there were a number of prison inmates who suddenly showed up in an emergency room with all of these serious symptoms. And it turns out that they were doing some kind of a squat challenge, competition amongst each other, and instead of doing like 20 squats, they were doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of squats nonstop over and over, and caused permanent damage to their bodies. Rhabdo can also happen due to things like severe dehydration or overheating after an extreme muscle injury, let's say in a car accident where your muscles get crushed. It basically causes the muscle to break down, and that breakdown creates toxins that the kidneys can't filter from the body. So it causes kidney damage, and it can lead to death. It's serious business. And if you don't recognize the signs and symptoms and seek medical help, it can cause pretty serious outcomes. According to the Cleveland Clinic, I was doing a little reading last night, it's relatively rare. Only about 26,000 people develop the condition each year in the United States. So the fact that we've seen 20 cases in St. John since October is a real concern. There's no immediate word on the exact source, but some are pointing to exercise classes and routines that may be pushing people too hard. We have a story in our VOCM news right now that is saying social media is playing a role in this too, because people are bragging about, how many reps they can do and that sort of thing. Careful now. Everything in moderation is the old adage, which is one that I like to live by. Symptoms, of course, can include muscle swelling, extreme weakness, the inability to really do what you need to do. It's debilitating. Excessively sore muscles. I think we all know what it feels like to have your muscles strained or stressed after a workout, but this is excessive. The real pain. And very dark pee, usually the color of like iced tea. So if you have a pee and you look and you say, that's not right, that might be a sign. That's the toxins that are being flushed through your kidneys. So be careful out there. There's nothing wrong with trying to stay fit and trying to challenge yourself, but fitness usually involves responsible routines, not pushing yourself to the extreme. So I'd like to know, are you one of the people who recently got diagnosed? What happened there? How are you now? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Give us a call. I noticed yesterday following the House of Assembly, this is just my own observation now, nothing short, in my opinion, of shocking and shameful that the issues outlined in the Auditor General Denise Hanrahan's report on Newfoundland and Labrador housing weren't raised in question period yesterday until Jim Dinn got up to ask the questions. The Premier did make reference to it in one of his responses to an unrelated question, but it makes you wonder about the true purpose of question period, which is to raise and debate issues on behalf of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. That it seems that we've lost our way, and I know there's a lot of political posturing, and I know there's a lot of one-upmanship, and I know there's a lot of I could use a lot of other types of adages there, but in the end, it's about raising questions and challenging the people in power on action and response and responsibility and those kinds of things. And somehow that focus, it appears, has been lost. And I noticed that the House sat late last night because of this private member's motion about the gas tax. And there was some raucous debate there. In fact, they had to pause for a while because decorum got so out of hand. But the argument on government side for a reason why the gas tax won't be lowered again is that gas prices could go up tomorrow, could go down tomorrow. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. Just saying. Anyway, your thoughts on that as well. You're welcome to give us a call. Some really interesting discussion online after local musician Greg Tobin took to Facebook to vent his spleen. He came off a busy St. Patrick's evening playing in the downtown, tired and all that, only to find a boot. You know, one of those contraptions that prevent you from moving your vehicle until you have to pay to get it removed. As he put it, the cost of having it removed negated the money he made on St. Patrick's Day. And, you know, St. Patrick's Day, let's be clear, in Newfoundland and Labrador, that's your bread and butter if you're a musician in the downtown. And it's resurrected that age-old question of what accommodations can be made for people who work in the downtown. Just imagine now what a feeling that must be to work all night and show up at your car at 2:30 in the morning. It's been busy. You haven't been able to go out and feed the meters and the like, and you have a boot on your car. Whether it's winter, summer, whatever. What a feeling that must be. Must make you feel very defeated. And the question is the city able to provide musicians or people who work late in the clubs downtown with some kind of a special ticket or license to allow them to park for an extended period? I know snow clearing is an issue. That, presents a lot of other difficulties there, but I see that an online petition has been launched seeking remedy for late-night workers. What's your experience? We'd like to hear from you. And wow, look at the phones. They've just gone crazy here this morning. We're going to start the show this morning with the Auditor General. Where is she? Sure, there she is. Denise Hanrahan. Hello, Denise.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm great. How about you?
Good. It must be frustrating for someone like yourself to put out a report like the one that you did this week on Newfoundland and Labrador housing and only know that you're reiterating the same exact points that were made 17 years ago.
You're 100% right. It's really frustrating to know that good public dollars were spent back then to tell this corporation areas they needed to improve on. I really thought, in 2009 they told this office that everything had been implemented, and then to turn around and to find, in my assessment, it's actually worse.
What stood out the most to you? I mean, you're the one that's examining these things, going through the papers, looking at the stats. What stood out most to you?
I think it was the overall impact when we looked at everything for me. Usually our audits are very focused. This one, really did look at everything from demand and supply and inventory management, and then there was the oversight piece. So it was quite large. It was over a long period of time. So, of course, there's even more that comes from an impact of that type of an audit. But everything from knowing that you have a configuration issue with units and have known that for many, many years, and not dealing with it, not having a policy to deal with it, not having a plan, getting lots of good money from the province and from the federal government, and still not getting the repairs and the bills done. When I see the 5,500 units is the same quantity of units as we've had almost 20 years ago, but the population has increased, as we know, the economy has changed, and then to see that the inventory that, the province does have, those 5,500 units, to see that inspections weren't documented, that maintenance wasn't kept up, that things are not done according to the policies that they do have, or there's no policies. And I think when you see all of that combined, it really makes me concerned for what's really happening behind the scenes.
And does that information offer you any hints of what's happening behind the scenes? Like, what is preventing this progress from being made?
Some of it, I think, as we worked through this audit, is how it led us to looking at oversight and what the role of the board was. Clearly, there are some issues with respect to what the legislation says versus with how the corporation actually operates. And, we did include that information in it. We, as an office, do not audit policy, so we're looking at more the implementation and that oversight piece. But, you have board members that are there a long time. That's not necessarily best practice. You have a board that's not involved in some of the really key issues that the corporation is facing, such as the wait lists, the reconfiguration issues that they have, the demands that they have, and so when you see those types of things, I know there's a tone at the top or that type of an issue there, and then as you work down through it, we had many times in the findings as we were doing this audit, had staff tell us, well, we don't have a policy for what to really do with sales, or we don't have a policy for what to really do with a person who is in housing whose income is over $100,000. And so then we were like, okay, well, in fairness to the people that are trying to work every day, sometimes they're facing those gaps. So we're very hopeful when we do these types of reports that we give the corporation really concrete information for them to act on and go, okay, there's an issue here, let's fix this one. And there's an issue here, let's fix this one. In this particular case, we have 14 recommendations, and behind each of those recommendations is a series of things that will help the corporation be better, I hope, in 3 years.
That's the policy side of things. I'm wondering about things like staffing, for instance. It seems to me that we're going extremely long periods of time before houses are ready to go after someone moves out or damage has been caused or whatever the situation might be in that particular case. But what about staffing at NL Housing? Is it adequate?
So we didn't really assess staffing. The information on staffing for us it really starts to go into a policy area because it's a choice where organizations choose to put their resources. So we more report on, you made this commitment, did the commitment actually happen? So they do have policies about move in, move out, and inspections and those types of things. And the issue is they may have done some, but they weren't documented. Some they don't do. Some there's, the approach is much more ad hoc. So for us, I can't comment on what the staffing is or isn't. I don't know. We didn't look to see if it was the same as when we did the audit in 2008. It's more at that approach of what did we sense when we were there. And certainly I think throughout the report we do make comments like we were told, for example, that, we don't approach it that way or, we don't do it that way. We weren't, I didn't get a sense that, there was an issue with insufficient staffing in particular areas or anything like that. But to be fair to the corporation, that's not something we directly assessed.
So you've issued these recommendations. No doubt you've spoken to government about them. They're the same issues that have been raised 17 years ago. Are you hopeful that, the message has been sent?
So in 2008, when we did this report, of course, I wasn't here, and the recommendations that were made back then, I think, were pretty high level, which usually is meant to give the corporation lots of room to be able to make decisions about how they could remedy the situation. But we felt this time we needed to be more specific, more direct, and so those 4 recommendations this time became 14. I was fortunate to be able to meet with the minister and the officials, and certainly their response to these recommendations and the minister's news release about his reaction and response to the report from our office's perspective is very positive. I'm always hopeful that they will implement, and we do everything we can to help them with specifics. So, for example, we will send them more information to tell them what they need to do for each one of those 14. In 2 years from now, we will go back and they will tell us how they're doing, and we'll report that publicly. And in 3 years, we'll actually check to see where they're to. For some of these recommendations, in my opinion, they won't need 3 years, and in some of them, they very well may, because it's a large, complex organization serving the whole province. And so sometimes it takes time to communicate, to train, to change systems. So we appreciate that. But I certainly have got as much optimism as I can from the reaction that we got. And certainly we've been very fortunate to see government respond well to our recommendations. The only piece left for me now, and as soon as the House announces the members of the Public Accounts Committee, they're another party that is part of this accountability cycle for us, and they help us make sure that those recommendations also get acted on.
Denise Hanrahan, we appreciate your time this morning. We appreciate the work that you do. We asked you last time, it seems like yesterday, what was coming up next. So what is coming up next?
First of all, I need to thank you. It is really a big part of our audits is to make sure that everybody in Newfoundland, Labrador knows what they're paying for from my office, knows what work we put out. So I really appreciate your role in helping us get our message out. Our next report's coming. It's going to be a busy spring, summer for us. We have 2 reports that we're expecting to come out in late April. Those are related to fraud risk management, and the other one is related to emergency management and business continuity planning. So those are looking at provincial legislation and what process has been put in place to ensure that the province and municipalities have emergency management plans, and departments and entities have business continuity plans. And the fraud risk, of course, is a much broader one. We're looking right across the province. We released our financial report there a few months ago, and we always report on incidents of fraud, but it's becoming apparent that we may have an issue with the system around detecting, preventing, and reporting. So this is why we went there. And in May, we'll have our report related to the, I'm not sure I got the title right, but the transitory housing initiative that happened here. It was in St. John's, where the province leased the airport in. So we've done an audit into that area, and we're expecting that to come out later in May. And then we also have, following that then, is our general audit into the College of the North Atlantic. And to follow that will be the second phase of our health sector contracts, where we're looking at telemedicine. We did travel nurses, agency nurses before. And then the last one, which we're targeting now for probably the end of the summer or late in the summer, is the Public Accounts requested report. We will table that to them related to long-term care. So that's the second one after we did personal care last year. So quite a slate to keep us going all through the summer, and then the fall we'll start up again.
And no doubt lots to talk about on VOCM Open Line. Denise Hanrahan, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. What do you think of what she's had to say? You can certainly give us a call. Our next call in the queue is Jerry Butler. He's with CUPE Local 1860. Hello, Jerry.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. What does CUPE Local 1860 cover?
We cover Newfoundland and Labrador housing. I help support 220 members, over 220 members, province-wide in 7 different regions, from here to Lab City. And that's everybody from the maintenance crew to the housing officers to the people that answer the phones when you call with a problem with your unit.
So you must have been paying close attention to the AG's report. What are your thoughts?
I was, and I was glad to hear her speak just before me now and address staffing issues. That's more the reason I'm calling than anything. First and foremost, I want to thank her for her report. I believe it's pretty accurate. I think her suggestions around policy adjustment is long overdue and would help us immensely in providing a better service for the residents of Newfoundland and Labrador. Our members are involved in all aspects of the housing process, from helping people in distress get a bed for the night, to housing seniors, and to help house families that are coming here to escape violence into other parts of the world. We help those in need, and our members are dedicated to doing just that. You may not realize who in your life may depend on these supports too, right? With some of your coworkers, some parents at your kid's school, your favorite Tim's server. You know, everybody has some sort of relationship to housing, whether you realize it or not. These services are critical and have been underfunded by government historically now for a long time. Specifically regarding around staffing, it seems like we've shrunk in numbers over the years due to policy changes and different programs that will get shut down, such as our modernization and improvement program. Over the years, we used to improve houses as they needed it. What's happened here lately, it seems like we just put out fires more so than maintain, which, like I said, with the policy announcement that she announced, I'm hoping that that'll come into light.
So tell us a little bit, because this is one of the things that was raised by the Minister Jody Wall. He said that the manager for modernization and improvement was one of the people who was let go some time ago. What did that area do? What was its function?
So, as you know, I mean, everybody lives in a home realizes that as you live there, things get older, things get worn out and stuff like that. So in our units, once they reach a certain point, an inspector goes in, saws the unit up, decides, okay, this needs a modernization. So they'll come in and they'll replace the worn out covers, the worn out plumbing, the appliances, or not the appliances, sorry, the fixtures in the unit that don't work anymore. And in that, it increases the livability of our units. This was done at one time as a part of a program, but now, like I said, it's more of a need-based than preventative-based.
I see. So it used to be a regular thing, and now it's as it comes up.
Yeah. In with the problem. Yeah, exactly.
So is that working? No, clearly.
No. Well, so what happens is that when you're only putting out fires, stuff gets overlooked because not everybody is aware of how serious some of the problems are that they are going on in their unit. They may hear a drip and not realize that it's causing much more damage in a wall than they realize. So there's things like that, like I said, when they don't get picked up on, then that's what happens, to our units. Because I've heard people say that our units are, run down and stuff like that, but that's not the case at all. We're trying our damnedest with the resources that we have just to stay on top of some of the issues that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. The other thing I'd like to let you know too is that we have a real problem here with retention of people. So we hire people, good people, well-trained and experienced people. And what happens is we get them here for a little bit. They realize the lower wage that we're getting paid here because we're on par with other people doing the same jobs across different sectors. And they end up jumping ship and going to some place that is better paid, where there's less stress, because as you can imagine, we deal with people that are vulnerable. Nobody calls us because they want to. It's usually a need, and we are here to help that need. And like I said, it makes a lot of our employees frustrated when their hands are tied by policy.
So compensation is an issue, obviously, as well. And we all know what the competition is like in the construction sector right now.
Exactly, and with the Beta Nord announcement, which I'm very happy about, I'm sure it'll bring prosperity to the province. That's just going to make it much harder for us to get people to come for the wage that we're paying here.
So how do we compare to the private sector, let's say, for instance?
Well, my job, I can speak to specifically. I'm a heating tech. I can make probably 25% more at a private company than I'm making here. I came here for the security of the position, which at one time, this was a place that people wanted to work. This was a desired place to work because it supplied families with stability, benefits and a pension and things that, people look forward to back in the day. Now, because of the low wage, it's not as viable as it used to be one time.
Right, because one time people weren't that interested in jumping from project to project and having big gaps in between and all the like, or even having to travel.
Yeah, exactly. We were very family oriented here, and I mean, some of the people that worked for us actually lived in housing. I mean, that was the support that we provided to the community, because, like I said, of the policies and stuff that have been implemented now. It's harder and harder to keep good people. So what happens when we have people that lead these positions in a short period of time, you don't get the continuity required to provide the oversight to make sure that the maintenance is maintained and that the records are kept. You know what I mean? Like if you have people constantly moving in and out of positions, it's very hard to keep that continuity.
So Jerry Butler is sitting in his truck, let's say, for instance, getting ready to go on shift, enjoying a coffee and thinking to himself, boy, it would be really great if we had this. What would it be?
The wages available to keep the staff that are trained to do the job. To be honest, that's where I am, and that's where I'm hoping the AG report is going to steer the government.
Jerry Butler, I appreciate your outlook on this. I thank you very much for joining the show, and we'll see what others have to say. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, you recall off the top of the show yesterday, we took a call from a student at MUN who was expressing some concern about the future of the grad student union. Well, we're going to speak with the chair of the Canadian Federation of the Students' Unions, Nicholas Keogh, about that, coming up right after this. And we are back. We're going now to Nicholas Keogh, chair of the Canadian Federation of Students' Unions. Students' Union. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no trouble. Off the top of the show yesterday, we took a call from a student at MUN who expressed some very serious concerns about the future of the grad student union at Memorial University, saying that there's a motion being tabled now to try and get the union dissolved. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to call because I did hear that yesterday, and I wanted to kind of give my response to it. And I agree completely with the student. It's definitely really concerning. So if the student union does dissolve next week, unfortunately, 2,500 students and their dependents will immediately lose their health coverage, and there will be no student representation for grad students anymore.
So what can be done then? How long has the grad student union been around? How many members does it have? And what's caused this problem?
Yes, there are about 4,000 members of the Graduate Students' Union. It's been around for decades. It's a long-standing body that we have really worked with for a long time. It's really important for graduate students across the province. So it includes students at Grenfell campus, at the Marine Institute campus, St. John's and Labrador campuses. And it represents graduate students on a provincial, national level, also on things like the Board of Regents and the Senate. And those seats are likely to be completely taken away if there's no Graduate Students' Union anymore. So we're definitely keeping an eye on it. We're really concerned about the idea of a possible dissolution, and it is definitely a big concern. Kind of to go into how it got to this point, I think one of the major concerns from students has been the major debt that's been accrued. So there's been a major debt of about $1.6 million to Green Shield Health and Dental, the insurance company that provides the health and dental insurance for students, and about $350,000 to CFS, which I am a representative of provincially. That, from my understanding, has been a result of financial mismanagement over the last number of years. But from my perspective, and as someone who's been involved in student unions for a number of years, I can say that I've seen a lot of great work from the current GSU executive. I've seen them really work hard to get the finances back in order, and we're really close to negotiating a plan that can really help alleviate a lot of this debt and make sure that students don't have to suffer and don't have to be without representation or without health insurance, and they can still have a student union going forward and resolve this debt.
1.6 million, though, that seems insurmountable.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like a lot, but we are working very closely. I'm having daily meetings with Green Shield, with our health provider, making sure that we can actually address this debt. And I think it is possible to address the debt in the next few years.
So can the union be salvaged then?
Absolutely. I think we have Green Shield and CFS, the two organizations that the GSU owes the money to, who are 100% willing to work with the GSU to make sure that they don't have to deal with the possible negative effects of dissolution. And I think it's really important that students don't give up on their union because other organizations are also not giving up on the union. It's a really big concern of mine to see the possibility of 2,500 students and their dependents losing this health insurance, and just to see the amount of work done, I think it would be really a shame if we were to give up on it now.
So you're obviously playing a big role here. Is there anyone else that's involved in trying to, resolve this situation?
Yeah, we're working very closely with the executive of the GSU, as I mentioned, and then also I'm the provincial chairperson. We're also working with our national counterparts and then also with Green Shield itself, which is our health and dental provider. And it does seem to be working out. We are getting to a solution, and we're hoping to be able to get there in the next few days.
All right. Well, we'll keep us up to date, will you?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Paul Din, who is with Adelaide Newfoundland Honey, not the education department. Hello.
Hello. How are you, Linda?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. I was just looking back on my calendar, and it's been, believe it or not, 6 years since I came to VOCM and did an interview with you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it feels like yesterday, I got to say.
Yeah, I know. It really flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And today's the first day of spring.
Is it really?
Apparently on the calendar it is anyway. But
it bypassed me. I'm sorry. I didn't notice.
I know. It's interesting for us because it's actually a bit of a milestone for us. 8 years ago today, we actually opened our honeybee reserve, and this year is 10 years in business now since we've been beekeeping, and which is really exciting, So what do beekeepers bee at during the winter months? What do beekeepers do? We still check our bees. We do a lot of shoveling. Because to keep the bees, we here on the Avalon, our weather is changing so much. It gets cold, then it gets warm, then it gets cold. So when it gets cold, we'll actually shovel snow around the hives to keep them warm. And then, of course, the next day it's +5. Then we'll take the shovel out again and clear the snow away so they can not become too warm, right? But the reason I thought I'd call you is because it's such a special day for us, and to tell you that not only are we happy with what's happening with the bees, but in the 10 years, we've had the provincial apiarist. Her name is currently Paige Marchant with the provincial government and agriculture. And every year, the provincial apiarist would come and inspect our bee colonies. And they're looking for the worst case, the varroa mite, which is the one that's plaguing hives throughout the world, tracheal mites, small hive beetle, and greater wax moth, and also numerous other health issues. But you know something? We have never had an issue with our bees, and so I'm knocking on wood here now, saying it's 10 years we haven't had any issues with any of those pests or disease.
And we have always been one of the few jurisdictions in the world, us and I think Western Australia, that have this, designation that we've been free of this varroa mite. But there were a lot of concerns when bees started getting imported into Newfoundland. So how do we protect against something like that?
Well, we're still totally. We don't believe, us meaning Adelaide's, my family. We don't believe that there's any reason to ever import bees. Our bees are doing fantastic. To be honest with you, part of the reason I wanted to call too is to talk about that. Like when we started, so you're going back to 2016, there was only, I believe, 3 commercial beekeepers, and now I believe it's upward of maybe 40 to 50 commercial beekeepers. And we have a program called Become a Beekeeper, and we also have Adopt a Hive, and we have hives all through the city. And the good thing is a lot of the beekeepers that started with us and did our program, they're now doing their own beekeeping and have their own beekeeping business. And we're talking like in Goose Bay to right across the province. So it's very successful. How to keep it away? It's challenging. It's all through education and talking to people about why they shouldn't import bees. And then the big thing is being in touch with the province. Like if there's a concern about bees being imported, if someone thinks that they see a bee coming into the province, they right away should contact the province and agriculture to alert them to get this corrected, But we're just thankful that, we haven't had any issues, and we don't want any, because we've visited, Quebec and Ontario and other places and we've talked to beekeepers there, and some of them have lost their hives. Like I'm talking 80 to 90% of their hives, thousands of hives have died due to varroa and different diseases. So to say it's, with bees, a lot of people always say to me, well, why is it important? Why are bees important? And what people don't realize is if we didn't have bees and pollinators, like butterflies and bumblebees, we would actually lose 1/3 of our world's food due to bees not being able to pollinate them. So bees are extremely, like a lot of people say, bees are the foundation of agriculture. Without bees, you're not going to have the food you want to grow. Now, if you're growing raspberries or blueberries or what have you, that all came from a bee pollinating that flower. So we desperately need them, and we got to protect them. And the thing is, it's to keep the communication going, I think, is the most important. Like for more people to call and talk about their bees. And, if anyone sees something like happen, I know a few years ago there was a bee brought in through the mail at Canada Post. And that got intercepted by the province, by someone reporting that there was this bee brought in, and it went, and the province jumped on it, and agriculture and managed to get that bee and prevent what could have been the destruction of our bees, So when you see a bee, well, the other thing people can do, which is always very important, is look after their gardens and keep planting those wildflowers and plant trees, which are great for pollen and nectar as well. So you can't do enough of that,
Oh, yeah. I noticed myself that I love flowers. That's my thing. I just love flowers. I'm a little bit obsessed with it, actually. But I noticed that there's a whole area of my garden. It's just rocky and kind of wild. You can't do anything with it. And that's where all the bees are. The bees are all there because that's where the wildflowers are, and they love them.
Good. I love hearing stories like that, and we hear them all the time. And I wanted to give you a little bit of something we don't normally talk about here with our honeybee reserve, our farm. I wanted to give you a little background of how we got here, because I'll tell you something. It's interesting.
We're up to a break. Do you care to hold for a few minutes, and we can come back to that one thought, and then we'll move on to other callers?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, that's what we'll do. We'll put you on hold for a second. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll finish what Paul Dinn had to say, and then we'll move on to talk about some other issues that have come up in the news of late, coming up right after this. And before the break, we were speaking with Paul Dinn of Adelaide Newfoundland Honey, and he was just about to launch into what he's doing. So what are you doing?
Well, I wanted to do, I guess you could call this a little bit of a heritage moment or whatever, but our family now has had this property, it's been in our family for 5 generations. So what happened was I always heard stories, like we always do, right? Newfoundlanders love stories about handed down. And my father would tell me about my great-grandparents. Now, just to give you an idea of, we're going back a long time, but both my grandmother and my father were actually born here on this property. And that makes it really interesting. So when we were doing our honeybee hiking, taking tourists basically from all over the world, we would talk a lot about our heritage. And one of the things when my father was born that he told me, he was so tiny that they put him in a shoebox and put him by the wood stove. And I always tell people that's why I have 2 wood stoves in our home now, because he, this was the way they did things back in those times. And they grew all their own food, and they worked very hard, built their own home. My great-grandfather and my great-grandmother, they had a cellar in their basement. And we're talking, she was making actually butter down in the cellar of the basement, and I know approximately where the house was, and her wedding band slipped off and went down into the well, and it was lost. And do you know it's still there? It was never found.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so what we do with this is we try to promote not only the fact of the bees here, but also the fact that how people survived and lived there. So my great-grandfather used to have a dog, a big Newfoundland dog, and he used to actually haul lumber and trees out with the dog. And apparently, I found out from my relatives recently, he had also a Newfoundland pony called Doll, and that he would use to haul wood for firewood and such. So you think about how people have lived over that time. And we're looking at now to get more people into agriculture and beekeeping and increase our food stability here in the province. Well, it's only to look back and say, well, how did they do it? And with all the modern technology we have today, it shouldn't be an issue. We still live on an island. We still have this question of food costing a fortune. If the ferry doesn't get across, we're all wondering, well, how come there's no food on the shelves, right? Now, I've noticed a few farms this year because we go to we sell our honey from the St. John's Farmers Market, and we've seen farmers right till this March still with vegetables, carrot, turnip, you have it. To me, I see things changing, that we are becoming more self-sufficient with our food, and it's lovely to see these people doing that. And what I'd love to see people do is go to the St. John's Farmers Market, go to your local markets and try to buy local produce. It's fresher, it tastes better. Why, now we're down there just so people don't get under. We harvest in September, and by Christmas, all of our honey is gone. We're sold out for the year, right? Because the bees can only produce so much. But I think that we need to get more people involved in agriculture and even just growing it for themselves in their own backyard. And it's not as difficult as a lot of people will get too technical with things and say, like beekeeping. You say, I won't be able to do it. Anyone can do it. There's just basic steps you have to do. You have to put some time in, but it's not a lot of time. And more people have gotten into beekeeping in the last 10 years than ever before. And we're very blessed here to have these wonderful bees that are healthy, and we just got to protect them and keep supporting agriculture.
Paul Dinn, I really appreciate your time this morning, and happy spring.
Yes, happy spring. And don't worry, the sun's coming out and all that snow is going to be gone soon.
The sun will come out tomorrow. Thanks, Paul.
All the best, Linda.
Alrighty.
You take care.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Edward. You're on the air. Hi, Edward.
Good morning, Linda. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. I just wanted to make a comment regarding the article I've seen on the news over the last couple of nights. And I want to, first of all, state that I don't know the people involved. I have no interest in this whatsoever, other than from a bystander point of view. But the situation I'm referring to is the family in CBS, I'm not even sure which town it was, who had their home expropriated several years ago, and now find them that someone else has purchased the land and is building a new house on it. And I watch with interest the interviews, a couple of interviews that Minister Petten gave to the media, and the only thing that I could glean from what he was talking about was they're going to make some policy changes, or they're going to institute a policy where no policy existed before. Well, that's all well and fine, but I think there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. And first of all, I mean, it's cruel what this family had inflicted on them. I mean, they were living in a house in an area that they loved and had no reason to want to leave. And big bad government comes in and says, we're taking your house, we're going to knock it down, we're going to put a highway through. Well, we all know now none of that happened with regard to the highway, and apparently is never going to happen. Then the situation that these people, I don't even know their names, they see someone else erecting a house on the land that was taken from them. So I got a couple of questions, and they got nothing to do with policy. I think this family deserves compensation for what they've endured with respect to this. I mean, it must have been very, very traumatic and stressful and every other adjective you can find to have this done by bureaucrats, no doubt. And yeah, I understand that the government provided them with a new house, but that's not the issue here. So one of the questions that I have is, so the government now, presumably in 25 or 26, sells this property to someone, and I'm just wondering, with a situation like expropriate, how would anybody know that this piece of land is available? How would anybody know who to approach to see if this is available to be purchased? I mean, if it smells like something rotten, I think there probably is something rotten. I mean, is somebody within government got inside information? And that's the first question I'd like to ask Mr. Petten. And the second question is, was the land sold at a fair market value, or did somebody get a very, very nice gift, compliments of the Newfoundland government? So I think Mr. Petten owes the public, because we're talking about taxpayer money here as well. He owes this family, and he owes the public of Newfoundland. Now, I also recognize that he probably wasn't in the government when all this took place. I understand all that. But he's the guy in the driver's seat right now. And I think he owes more of an explanation to everybody involved and to find out what really went on here. And at the very least, the government, if whatever money they received for this land. At the very least, they should turn that over and give it to this family. But I think that they need to get themselves a good lawyer and challenge this in a court, because there's something very rotten seeming to me about all this. And
excellent question.
I don't know. As I said, Linda,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just listening to the news and saying, man, there's something not right about this.
Excellent questions all, Edward. We have to leave it there, I'm afraid. We're well overdue for the news, but you're raising some very excellent questions. And I was sent some information. I didn't get a chance to go over it just yet, but I was sent some information yesterday regarding that, and I'll see if I can't dig that out and examine it a little bit further and see what it has to say. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. And like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there and see if there's any other people who got a opinion on this.
All right. Appreciate your time, Edward. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
All right. Bye-bye. Sorry about that. Well overdue for the news. We had a rollicking first hour. Lots of calls on the line. We have a few lines open now. Now is your opportunity to give us a call. Yeah, and further to Edward's call about that expropriation of land and someone else now building a house there, the documents that were sent to me yesterday suggest that it was sold to the new owners for $1 because, as the minister indicated previously this week, that it was deemed as surplus land. Anyway, lots of questions there remain. We're going to go now to John Whalen. You're on the air. Hi, John.
Hi, Linda. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm calling you now as the chair of the Resident Family Council at Grand Falls Windsor Long-Term Care. Now, that's a new public level 3 home that was recently built by the Exploits River. Now, I call it Grand Falls Windsor Long-Term Care. Some people say it's the home down by the river. Some people call it the New Carmelite. But more often than not, it's referred to by people, and unfortunately a large number of NL Health Services employees, as the P3. Now that, as an old socialist, that really annoys me, but that's a subject for another call. But we would like to have an official name for our home. But anyway, my wife Sue moved into the home in November 2022, and not right away, but soon after she moved into the home, I was added to what's called an exclusions list, because I'm down to the home, every day, helping Sue with her meals and that sort of thing. So as I'm on the exclusions list, I was given the privilege of being served a meal after the residents had all been fed. Now, it was a privilege, but the food that we were, those of us on the exclusions list were given to eat was going to be thrown away anyway. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was at the home, and I was informed that the exclusions list doesn't exist anymore, and that nobody was entitled to a meal. And I think what happened, or what I was told happened, is started off with a small list, and then it grew and grew and grew, and got too unwieldy. And so they, excuse me. So they, basically decided to eliminate it altogether. Now, I had no argument with that. I considered it a perk anyway, a privilege. But like I said, the food was being thrown away anyway, so I didn't feel bad about taking the meal, if you know what I mean. But there's an old Newfoundland expression, you can't give chalk to one and cheese to another. And in some cases, family members, if there was more than one family member visiting a resident, that person wouldn't be given a meal in some cases, but would be given a meal in others. So it was just getting complicated. I had no issue with it. And in my own personal case, I can't remember the last time I cooked a meal on my stove at home, or sat down and had a meal at home with my daughter Bridget, who's 25 years old and doing an online course from home, and may not be living with me that much longer. So I said, this will help me to have a more normal life at home. But I did ask, okay, can we still have a cup of tea and coffee? And I was informed, no, you can't even have that anymore. Now, before the exclusions list went into place, we could get a cup of tea and coffee. So when I talked to people about this, they said it's kind of like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But that's okay. I can bring in my own tea and coffee, and I'm allowed to use the kettle on the counter. But and so I got some stuff, got it all together, and said, now what about milk? Can I have a drop of fresh milk from the fridge? And I was told, no, you can't even have that. So I approached food services and said, I understand there's no more food being provided to family members, but could I please have a bit of fresh milk for my tea and coffee? And I was informed by a manager. I'll read that to you, what I got, but I won't give you his name, obviously. Just a minute. Hey, John, this is blank. I just got confirmation that as of now, you can go ahead and use milk for your tea and coffee. If anything changes, we will let you know. Thanks. Now, I tried to contact that manager again through text, because I'm chair of our resident family council. I wanted to make sure that this perk of being able to have some fresh milk for tea and coffee would be extended to all family members at the home, and not just to me. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just something for just me to have. And I sent him one text, and then I sent him follow-up asking for a call, but never got a response. Now, on Wednesday, I got this text from the same manager. Hey, John, it is blank. The food service manager just following up. After reviewing this further, we're not able to provide milkers for visitors to take. They are reserved for resident use only. Thanks for your understanding. To which I replied, hi, Brandon. I am not a visitor. I am a family member. Now, what I should have said in retrospect is I'm really, my status in the home is not just a family member. I'm considered a primary care provider, member of the healthcare team. But anyway, I said, go on to say I'm not taking milk. I'm using it for the tea and coffee I prepare and consume on site. I see Sue daily and help her with eating her meals and other matters. Other families members and I are assisting the home staff with their work. Can I pay a subsidy to have some milk for my tea and coffee? And then I conclude by saying, don't thank me for my understanding. I have none to give. Sent that reply on Wednesday, and as of yet, I have not had a reply back.
Yeah. So, how do those policies get set? The question is, anybody who has anyone in long-term care knows the amount of work that you do is not just sitting there saying, hey, how you doing? Just pop in and say hi. You're usually doing care, right? And some people are there longer than others. Some people are there all day. And I can feel that it must feel like a bit of an insult to know that even though you're bringing in your own tea and coffee, you can't even have a drop of milk to put in your. It's not like you're taking a carton of milk and walking away with it.
Well, the other thing, Linda, is I and I understand the reason for this. I can't take a bar fridge, for example, and put it in Sue's room. We're not allowed to have appliances in the rooms, and I understand that, completely, because there's possible danger and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like I have another option. There is a small bar fridge at our home in what they call the quiet room, but the quiet room is not always accessible, and it's a bit of a walk from where I'm making my cup of tea to begin with. So, to me that's not really an option. One little bar fridge for 15 residents and their family members. So it's I don't see it as a sensible option. Now, as I said, I'm chair of our resident family council. On Wednesday evening, when I went to the home, and I showed my text exchange to some family members, they said, "What are you going to do about it?" And I said, "Well, I have objected, but it seems like a personal matter." And basically, what I was told by family members is that you are our advocate. So if this is happening to you, it could be happening to other family members, and that it's your, they didn't use this word, it's your responsibility to go public with this. So I said, okay, I'll do it. But like I said, I'd rather be talking to you about issues that directly affect residents and not myself personally. But for example, when I arrived there yesterday evening, I was informed by a family member that the food provided that evening was not fit to eat. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to be advocating for. But one of the things I've been told since I've become a primary care provider, and I've been Sue's primary care provider since January of 2014, is that you need to take care of yourself too. And, not being able to have a bit of milk for my tea, that's very annoying.
I hear you. When you consider, what you're doing and the burden you're taking off of the system as a whole, it seems pretty small-minded or something. I don't know. But I get it. Policies have to be kind of black and white. But
and I hasten to say, my role as a primary care provider, the frontline staff I deal with,
hello?
The frontline staff I deal with on a daily basis, the vibe I get from them is they see me in that role. The managers at the home itself see me in that role. These are managers from, who are off-site that are making these decisions.
Yeah, I hear you. John, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm well overdue for a break, but I do appreciate you bringing it up. And, if this is what's happening to you, and as you say, you're the advocate, then I'd like to hear what others have to say as well.
And it has been suggested to me that the reason they're doing this to me is because I am the advocate and have been fighting for, residents' rights. And they're, trying to put me in my place. I don't know.
John, thanks for your call this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. We have a few lines open. Now's your chance. And we're back. We're going now to Barbara Barrett, who we heard from earlier in the week. Hello, Barbara.
Yes, good morning. I just want to say this morning a humble, sincere, and a heartfelt thank you to good people. I want to name them. A young woman came to my door after I spoke on Open Line and brought me a bag full of nutritious food items. She was from Arnold's Cove, Caroline Drive, up at the top of the hill. Then, as she left, another person came, a young man, and he brought a hot cooked breakfast. And his name was Bradley Hines. Now, one more. I was listening to a phone call from a lady. I didn't know them. And she said, we're on our way from Brigus to Bonavista area. And on our way back, we're coming into your place with cold plates and other food items. I want to say thank you from my heart to all of these people who has a concern for people in need. I want to call them God's messengers because I was in need that day and they helped me so much. And the people from Brigus stayed for about 2 hours, and she arranged a lunch for us. Now, that's what I call people with concern.
It's good to hear.
Linda.
It's good to hear, Barbara. I'm glad that so many people have that kind of compassion.
Yes. Now, I have to say this much. I have food in my fridge. My sons bring me food every now and then. So I have food there. But I am unable to get to my fridge easily, and I'm afraid I'm going on the floor. So I just have the food, but I need somebody to help me. And those people who came in that morning were ready and willing to do anything to help me. And I appreciate it so much that I had to go on Open Line to tell my story.
And any movement now in getting that home care that you were looking for?
Now, I want to thank the agency. I'm not saying the name. I want to thank the agency who is working tirelessly to try to find a person to send in here with me. And that agency calls me every day to see how I'm doing. But she hasn't got anyone, and they don't know when they will. So it's a situation. Now, I'm going to just mention something else because it's very important to me. The OT in our area ordered a walk-in shower for me. I can't get in the bathtub now. And she ordered it in August of 25, and I haven't got it yet. But they told me at NL Housing that they have the contractors, but that's about 10 days ago. And if the contractors are coming here to do that work, why am I waiting so long? So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, frustrating for sure. Barbara, thank you for the update. And if you get any satisfaction with your walk-in bath, let us know about that as well.
Yes, I will.
All right.
Well, I'm waiting. I can't get a bath. They know that.
Yeah.
They know that for a full year.
Yeah. And
all right, Linda,
all right.
I appreciate getting on your program, and I thank you for everything.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, that's very heartening to know that so many people, strangers, turned up to help that woman out that day. And I know that the phones were flooded with calls here, I guess, seeking that information out. We're going to, I was going to take a break here, Dave. I'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to speak with the chief of the Flat Bay Indian Band coming up right after this. And we are back. We're going to go now to Joanne Miles, who is chief of the Flat Bay Mi'kmaq Band. Hello, Joanne.
Good morning.
How are you
this
morning,
Linda?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good.
What's on your mind?
I'm calling, I guess, out of frustration over years of advocating for our community. The conditions of Route 403, which is a 11-kilometer stretch, Linda, from that's connecting our community to the Trans-Canada Highway. The road, I would say, is one of the worst, if not the worst, in Newfoundland. The unsafe, deteriorated condition of the road is no longer fit, I don't feel, for our people to be driving on. Just a few days ago, we had a serious incident where an ambulance couldn't safely transport an elderly lady to the hospital due to the road conditions. In emergency,
but let's go back to that for a moment. What prevented the ambulance from safely transporting that patient?
Well, it could be because of the extremely poor conditions of our road, the large potholes scattered throughout wherever, severe dips, uneven sections. The road is breaking apart, crumbling edges, patchwork surface. It's very poor. After constant talking to transportation, I mean, they managed to put up a few signs for me here and there, only after I requested it. But it was unsafe, I assume, for them, and having to reduce the amount of speed from 60 to 30. Now you're talking double the response time. In an emergency response, they're hesitating to take patients on it because the road is so unsafe. And where every second matters in an emergency, those, where did that put our entire community? It's putting us in risk, and it's dangerous for our community. And unfair to us. Our community is a large population of seniors where they depend heavily on emergency services. Now we can't even depend on that. Our basic safety cannot be guaranteed. We can't, it's frustrating.
How did the patient get to where she needed to go?
Well, their family had to take them by car. What other way would they get there? I guess they couldn't be liable. Maybe the emergency transportation couldn't be liable if they took them. I'm not quite sure. I was not speaking to the emergency situation. I talked to the family and spoken and asked what exactly went on. But we pay our taxes. We pay our taxes like every other citizen in this province. We deserve safe infrastructure and equal access to all services. Sometimes, I guess, we just feel like we're left behind, and that we don't get our equal share. And reasoning why, I have no idea. It's been years that we've been asking for this, and temporary measures have been done. And I'm tired of the Band-Aid solutions. Patch a little piece here and a little piece there. But we deserve like everybody else, and it's our right to have a safe place to be able to drive back and forth on. I'm calling on the provincial government to do the right thing. Invest in our road. Fix it properly. Ensure that our people are safe in our own area and our community.
Who's your MHA?
MHA Cormier. I have contacted him and spoke to both him and his assistant. I've also reached out to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, their local depot. After that, that's when they decided to put the signs up, only after I called and requested that they put the signs up, because we had a death in the community, and people from outside the community came up and they had vehicles damaged. They didn't know. Most of us are aware of the severe condition, and we drive 10 to 15 kilometers over that 11-kilometer stretch. But people coming into our community have no way of knowing, especially if there's snow on the road, till they hit the severe bumps and holes and, the cracked large dips that's in there, not even sections of, so people were very frustrated. Our community hosts one of the largest in Eastern Canada powwows, and, it brings in over 10,000 visitors some years. So when we're doing our part, we're supporting tourism, culture, and providing some provincial economic stability in by bringing these people in. But what are those people going to do this year? Are they going to come over that road? That's going to deter people. People are not going to want to come back. Here we are doing our best to try and do something. And what are they doing? We need this done, and we need it done now, because it's unsafe for our people.
So it's an 11-kilometer stretch from Flat Bay to the highway. How many people does it serve?
We have probably about 700 people in our community, with a large amount of people that are a large population of seniors and elders. And they depend heavily on emergency services. So this is the first that said no. We also have our bus driver. The school bus is struggling with the road conditions as well. Some parents have reported that young children are getting so distressed that from riding and they feel sick and refuse to eat. That's unacceptable for our families trying to send their kids to school for a safe day. So you got it from one extreme to the other. I just don't know. I know that the government have contingencies put in their budgets for they would be able to warrant emergency funds, and it's for public safety risk. And I think this is it. So the province typically sets aside a fund, that they could do that for. And I'm asking them, this is public safety risk. We need this done, and we need it done now.
Joanne Miles, I do appreciate you bringing it public. Unfortunately, that's what has to happen sometimes in order to get heard. But I hope that you get some updates on this and let us know, will you?
I will. Thank you, Linda, very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
11 kilometer stretch of road, and the ambulance would not travel over it to pick up a patient. The patient had to be taken to hospital by family members, and as she indicated, the bus driver has to navigate those potholes to such an extent that some of the kids on the buses are getting sick. Just imagine now. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back. We're going now to the leader of the New Democratic Party of Newfoundland and Labrador and the MHA for St. John's Centre, Mr. Jim Dinn. Hello.
Hello, Linda. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on with us. And you were pretty blunt in your assessment of the AG's report and the what appears to be the complete lack of action taken since the previous report on NL housing. And we wanted to explore that a little bit more. You obviously feel very passionately about this because you're dealing with it yourself with your constituents.
Look, it's a lot of frustration that I guess this report, I guess, confirmed an awful lot of things. And housing has been an issue an issue for me long before I was elected in terms of the organization I was with, and when it came to seeing the conditions that people were living in. People who had worked all their lives, you name it, they're like substandard, unaffordable, and in the time I've been in there, it's gotten worse. We found the issues when it comes to getting repairs done, when it comes to finding people homes. I've noticed it ourselves in the office. Like at one time, we had a reasonable chance to find a place for a person to live. It was a bit of a struggle. Now it's almost impossible. We've seen the number of people in shelters increasing to the point where we can't always be guaranteed that people will find a place in an emergency shelter. But I think if I had to pick out one part, there are two parts in the report, but one that struck home for me was on page 23. And it has to do with the report here of a building that we had written the minister about on numerous occasions about the lack of maintenance, and had to do with. You may remember in 2023 there was a fire in the corner of Livingston Street and Lime Street that had burnt down. It destroyed the 4 units there on 108 Livingston. Now they could have been repaired, but we had written the minister on this about using it maybe as a potential community center, something else I've been looking forward, advocating for. And we were told at that time, well, it really wasn't a suitable place. It wasn't accessible, even though it was on the level on Livingston Street. And we asked for a report, and they said they had a report, but they weren't going to release it. And now I find a few things here on this page in particular, and this is just one that really just drives it home. They had no report. There was the fact that they had nothing there to show that that would justify it. They sold off property. They sold off in an area that had high demand for affordable housing without any plan. And there have been several fires down there. They bulled the last ones that I think occurred in 2025, and I want to know what they were going to do with that property. And they said, well, we're going to leave it open now to maintain the sight lines. So I'm thinking you're worried about the sight lines at a time when people are struggling to find a place to live. I guess what drove it home for me, I was at the opening of the community center there on Livingston Street. They had a much smaller unit that was finally granted to them, but I couldn't help but think, they could have had a much better space and a larger space to do so much more programming if government had moved and reinvested. Instead, they sold it because, keep in mind, they couldn't do anything with it. What did the person, the private, investor, do with it? He's renovating it. He didn't tear it down. He's renovating it. I'm trying to think, why didn't they do that? Why couldn't they have done that with that and turned it over and benefited the whole community? But if you ever drive along Livingston Street, you will find many houses public houses in disrepair. And yet, that's the fault of the leadership of NLH in this case. And I would say government in particular, because I don't think they fund it. Not the workers. They haven't invested in the workers and having the hiring the personnel. And I don't think they put the money into the budget to address this at a time when we desperately need it. So I guess I've had a chance to calm down a bit, but this makes me so angry, Linda, at what we've been pushing for over the last few years, to find that they had no plan to no formal analysis, repairs and the renovations done on and building done on an ad hoc basis, buildings that were permitted to fall into disrepair. So I mean, this comes down to. And I've written minister about this in the past, and what they did is they turned around and basically said, well, I'm accusing workers of not doing their job. Never the case. It was the fact is you haven't given the workers and the resources they need, nor did you hire enough people to do the work. But there's an answer here. I think, in this report, and I look at the section on oversight. I really, and this part confirms, I really believe the issue here is that there's too much interference by government at this time. I think if you had let Newfoundland and Labrador Housing appoint a board that has the ability to actually provide the oversight and to make the decisions, and let them do what they can to raise funds in addition to public funds, that you could have an instrument that an organization that could actually make a significant dent in affordable housing. Something that we proposed in our election platform about NL Homes, a similar thing. Take it out of government, where I don't think there was a political will. I really do not believe there's a political will to fund affordable, not-for-market housing. Instead, they were relying on the private system, which has not produced the houses they have said it would, which has not produced the affordable rents which they said it would. And by the way, this is directed at the previous administration because most of these problems are there. The current administration, I'm going to see what they're going to do, but right now they got a major issue here to clear up. Anyway, that's in a nutshell with I guess my frustration with what we had to deal with over the last 6 years. And this report basically confirms everything we've been saying, and it's fallen on deaf ears.
The current government now has a big mess to clean up, as you put it, but what will it require? Does it require money? And obviously you have to invest in order to get the workers, get the properties, get the materials. I know everything's gone sky high, but I mean, obviously it's going to take a lot of money.
But Linda, here's the thing, and I was asked this as well. Like, what's the cost of not doing it? We're spending. I know we did an ATIP. I think it was done in the middle of 2025. I think early part of. They were up to that point. They were spending. I think it was over $14 million annual on emergency shelters. Okay, back in 2019, I think it was. They were spending $4 million. So. In that time, the amount spent on emergency shelters for people who have no place to go has over tripled. Actually, I think it's closer between 14 and 16 million. So that's money we're spending to provide people with emergency shelters who have no place to stay. What could you do with 16 million to a more non-market community-based housing where you wouldn't be spending? We're spending it now. We're probably spending it more. People who don't have a place to live and they're sleeping in the rough. And what do we have? We have people talking about public safety and the need to hire more police to make us feel safe. Well, I'll put it to you this way. If you want to make communities feel safe, then you make sure that people have a place to live, so that they're not out on the street, so that they're not in the hospital emergency rooms because they've got nowhere else to go, so that seniors don't have to watch their rents go up by $50, $100 a month each year, and that young people who want to buy a house have the ability to buy affordable housing. I can tell you right now, people are paying a mortgage and rent. They're paying more than what they'd be paying in a mortgage, yet they'll never qualify for a mortgage because they can never get ahead. So to your point, it's going to cost money, but it's costing us money now, and I would say it's costing us a lot more money right now.
Jim Dinn, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Linda. Take care.
Right. Bye-bye. We're up to news now. Anything you've heard on the show so far and you want to chime in, by all means do so. And if there's anything that you want to raise, you could do that as well.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line.
Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And we're back. We're going now to Craig. You're on the air. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Linda. How are things?
Oh, good. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Just listening to the radio yesterday. They were talking about Corner Brook, I guess, with the sewage issue problem that they have. and I guess every community in Newfoundland is going to have, because I guess the federal government passed the regulations that any raw sewage needs to be treated before it goes into the ocean, which obviously seems logical, but the cost of doing that seems to be enormous. Corner Brook is looking at maybe $120 million to hook up their outfalls and to treat that. So I just wanted to say there's solutions that are much cheaper, I think, that every community in Newfoundland can get. And that is basically, for Corner Brook, it would be a ship. It would come in, it would tie into the outfalls with a pipe, and then the discharge water would go to the ship and it would be treated, and then it would just be put back into the ocean, treated. It's not going to cost $120 million. You can buy these tanker ships for $5 or $10 million. You're going to put in a few pipes, another few $1 million. So they may even have the $17 million that they got now, could potentially do it. But you got to have people in there that are thinkers, that are looking for solutions, not looking for ways to spend money. We're going to spend billions of dollars now over the next few years so that we can use the toilet.
Is that type of approach used anywhere?
There's all kinds of natural solutions out there. There are companies that are making. I work down in Panama building sea pods. These are luxury living houses on the ocean, and we had our own septic systems in those pods. Now you can just build that up on a larger scale instead of being in a box. It's on a ship. So all the influence goes into the ship, and then you have the sludge that's left over as a waste. Well, that sludge can be burned into a gas turbine generator. So now you're generating energy from the waste. You can probably generate more energy than's required to run the operation. So then that energy can go back onto the grid. So that's another way for us to build alternative energy systems.
And what happens if something happens to that ship?
As in if it sinks?
Yeah.
Like the one that's in there, out there now on the West Coast? I guess we'll have to recover it, but we have to do it in a faster rate. See, when they launch ships nowadays, they use these big airbags. They put them underneath, and the ship rolls across them and down into the ocean. We could have solved the issue out there by putting these airbags underneath it and lifting the ship up and taking it out. You know, there's solutions to all these problems. It's just that people that are trying to put solutions out there are looking how to get the most money out of the taxpayers. That's why we get nothing done around here. It costs so much. We got to find better ways. We got to have better people in positions that are more intelligent than the ones that are in there bringing these solutions to us. We're going backwards instead of forwards, and there's no need of it or reason for it. You know, we have so much greed in this country or world that it's struggling. I mean, we can't even pave the roads to get an ambulance down the road to save our citizens. What's happening in our society today is ridiculous. You know, we have solutions to these problems, but why can't we, as common citizens, you know, we can bring our solutions to government, but government's not going to do nothing because they're going to be behind their closed doors, making all their deals, putting all their people in positions, right? And now that I know that I can get land in Newfoundland for $1, I'm buying up as much land as I can. They're giving it away. I mean, here they are. You take a house from someone that's living in it, and then you sell it to someone else for $1. You may follow the money. There's not a lot of money you got to follow. It's only $1. That's illegal what they're doing. So government needs to be held responsible. We need to put the proper people in government, like 40 independents, that are actually real Newfoundlanders that will do real solutions to fix the problems that we have.
All right. So, Craig, you've raised a lot of different points here. I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're going to go now to the MHA for Conception Bay East Bell Island. Mr. Fred Hutton, hello.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. You had a late night?
We did, yeah, and then woke up to some snow this morning. A little disappointed to see that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So how did the debate go?
Well, not good, really. I mean, we were trying to talk about the gas tax that the provincial government had brought in, the PCs, and they shut down debate at 10 o'clock. We were prepared to stay until midnight, but they invoked a rarely used closure, and just it was it. They didn't want to talk about it anymore. So we finished 3 weeks, and we're not in the House next week. It's constituency week. We're back on the 30th, which is next Monday. Look, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about this morning, and we'll start with the gas tax. The other is the PMR that we introduced earlier this week about not allowing MCP to pay political staff. But because you asked about the gas tax, I will. And I want to be clear, the gas tax amendment that we put forward was to push it even lower than we brought it in 2022. And back in 2022, after the Ukraine war started, the price of oil went very, very high. We took 7 cents off what was a 14.5 cent gas tax. And it's been at 7.5 cents since that point. And every year we would renew that. And the sunset clause was in place so that at the end of this month we would have to vote to keep it if we wanted to keep it. The Conservatives are saying that what they were doing was making it permanent, but that it was a break. There's no difference. When you wake up April 1st, there would be no difference. What our amendment was to bring it even lower, to give people actual money back in their pockets. And if you look at what's happened over the last little while, I mean, even just last night, the price of gas went up 6.3 cents a liter. On March 6th, it was 6.7 cents a liter. It went up. The 7th, it went up 12.4. On the 13th, 2.4 cents. On March 14th, it went up 9.3 cents. It's gone up almost 30 cents this month alone. So we were asking the provincial government, the PCs, to bring it down even further. And I know the energy minister spoke in the House last night and said that, this war is only 20 days old or 18 days old. Why do we have to do this? Well, we can do it for now. And if the war ends, and please God it will, we'll go back in and we'll bring it down further, or we'll bring it back to where it was. But right now, the provincial government makes more money every time the price of a barrel of oil goes up. If the price of oil goes up $1, we make about $25 million extra in revenue in this province. If it goes down $1, we lose it. But it's not going in that direction right now. So we wanted to give an actual break to people at the pumps, given the fact that it's gone up this much over the last 20 or 30 days. And I mean, if you back it up even further into the middle of February, it's even more. So we wanted to do that, but they didn't want to hear anything about it, and they ran literally on one of their three pillars was lower taxes. They had an opportunity to do this last night, and they didn't. We were prepared to debate this on Tuesday night, but they closed the House. We were prepared to debate it Wednesday night. They closed the House, and last night they invoked a rarely used clause, the closure, to just shut it down. And we'll have to go back in on Monday the 30th and debate it again, because it has to be done before the sunset clause is invoked as a result of the calendar change.
Are you getting any sense, Fred, of when the budget might be coming down?
Well, I mean, I guess in early April. So we're back for a week, the week of March 30th, and then there's a 2-week Easter break, and then we're back in again. We basically sit until the end of May. So my guess is that it will be sometime in early April. And governments keep those dates close at hand until they finalize or finally bake the budget, as they say, and it's done, and they can actually say, okay, we're good. We'll print this now and we'll put it out next week. But again, I just want to remind people, this break that was given to them at the pumps, the 7-cent reduction was done in 2022. We renewed it in 23, 24, 25, and we're going to do it again this year. Obviously, we've changed governments, and we would have supported it. We would have gone back into the House in late October or November, and brought in the income tax. And we told them, we will agree to this. We will agree to the income tax that you had promised people, but they didn't open the House until now and aren't even talking about this. So the tax break they promised people for income tax is not eligible for 2025 because they wouldn't go back to the House. The other thing I wanted to talk about is this PMR that we brought in this week, which was basically just to say you're not allowed to pay political advisors from money from MCP. They voted against it. Every PC member, every Conservative member voted against it. We voted, obviously our 15 members voted in favor of it, and the NDP joined us as well. But the PCs, they don't seem to see that there is a problem with taking $275,000 from MCP and paying somebody who literally has contract that says political advisor. Now, I worked as a political advisor in the Premier's office, and there is a salary that you can pay somebody up to $200,000 roughly. There's a budget of $1.8 million that they can take that money and pay whomever they want. Nobody has to do anything with who they hire except for the Premier. The Premier can say, this is who I want to bring in, and I can pay him up to this point of money. What they did was obviously this person wanted to get paid more. This Dr. Des Whalen, and he's going to work 28 hours a week as a political advisor. And we've already shown this week that, we have all the documents to show that he was invited to meetings about bird dog firefighting equipment, an airplane. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with healthcare. His name was on the briefing notes for the ambassador for Portugal. Again, what's up with that? The fishery with the FFAW, and meeting with, there was Synovus and others related to Beta Nord. What has this got to do with healthcare? And the Premier said this week, Premier Wakeham said, well, maybe what we should do is not put names on briefing notes. So then if we ATIP anything, are things altered? Literally saying that, well, we'll just adjust it so he doesn't show up on it. He can go to whatever meeting he wants.
He just mentioned that names that aren't of people who aren't attending, not showing up there. Yeah.
Yeah, but that they're not invited. But I mean, the question is, well, why is he even on the list? I mean, it's literally if you're going to a meeting or if you need to know about a certain topic, like what does Des Whalen need to know about bird dog firefighting equipment for? And when whoever puts out that briefing note, why would he need to know about it? That's got nothing to do with the, social determinants of health. I mean, we know all about the health accord and, that obviously housing, income, all these things, exercise, and your physical health, all determinants of health. We know this. But what does a bird dog firefighting meeting have to do with Des Whalen as a physician? And look, this is not about Des Whalen, by the way. This is not personal against him. This is about the Premier's decision to take money from MCP and pay a doctor who is giving advice not just about medicine and healthcare, but political advice.
So
he's
government
been involved
appears
in the party
to
for over
be
10 years.
Resolute on this. They're not answering those questions, and they're not obviously in the mood to make any changes. So at what point
They're not answering any questions, Linda. They're not answering any questions. We've asked them to release the Beta Nord benefits agreement. They won't release it. They won't release any part of it. We're supposed to take their word for it that it's a good deal, that it's the best deal ever of any benefit agreement ever done. They promised 70% of topside work would be done here or there'd be no deal. That never happened. They didn't get any of the topside. The people get to bid on it here. Anybody in the industry will tell you the topsides were never going to be built here because what they're going to do is they're going to get it done for cheaper overseas. What they did do is in lieu of that, they took a $200 million payment to build this dry dock, but we don't know how much it's going to cost. I've had people tell me it's anywhere from $500 to $700 million. So where's the other $400 million or $500 million coming from? And to build this dry dock? We don't know. They don't know. They've signed agreements that they just will not release. They won't. And even when we ask questions to the Premier in the House of Assembly about Des Whalen, he'll stand up and talk about the three pillars and something else, and they won't answer any questions.
Fred, we have to leave it there, but I appreciate your call this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye. Fred Hutton there. And, the question is, if government is not answering questions, at what point do you have to either continue on that line or move on and ask other types of questions? I don't know. The questions surrounding Dr. Des Whalen is clearly not something that the government is going to be changing anytime soon. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. Going now to Jim. You're on the air. Hi, Jim.
Oh, hello. There you are. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. No, I lost some pictures a while ago. They're probably not important to anybody else, but important to me. It's family and military history, stuff like that around the world and whatever. Anyway, I had them in a plastic bag. It's a silly thing to do, but I used to take them around different places and show them to people. I used to enjoy explaining the pictures. So anybody who doesn't know what I know about them, it wouldn't mean much to them, right? anyway, I took them in the Village Mall. I remember I used to take them to Avalon Mall and down to the Crow's Nest. I remember down there and so on. And but I don't know where they are. I looked for them and I asked to those places, did anybody see them, and the cleaner and so on, and they said no. So I was putting it out there just one last time to see if I could get them back, or if they're in the garbage, well, they're in the garbage, or if they're shredded by a plow, I don't know, or they could be in a building somewhere, I don't know where they are. So they're in a plastic bag, something like a bread bag with elastic bands on it. But
okay, so you've got a number of pictures. Is it a lot?
Well, it's you know, there's a lot. Fill up a bread bag, but that width and length, put it that way, not necessarily the thickness, but and it's there are some wide ones and some small ones, and they're all in there in the plastic bag, and I don't know, they must have fell out of the trunk of my car or something. I don't know what happened to them, but anyway, I only found out I was missing them about a month ago, and I haven't been successful finding them. So anyway, in the car, or in the apartment, or anywhere.
Oh wow! So anybody who's found a bag full of pictures, mostly black and white?
No, some color. Picture of my niece in San Diego when I was down there visiting in 2009, I think, and so on. And she was a commander in the Navy herself, in the U.S. Navy. She was a medical commander. But anyway, so stuff like that, they mean a lot to me, because most of the family is gone. It's gone now, and and I haven't been down there since. So
Oh, what a sin! Anyway. Well, hopefully somebody has picked up those pictures and found them. I mean, if, like, as you say, who knows where they could be? And if they found them, does Dave have your number?
I'll just give you my phone number, Jim, at 709 722
722
0497.
All right. Well, good luck with that, Jim. And if you do get them back, will you let us know?
Oh, I will. Yeah, I will. But I don't think now I'd get them. But you never know. Somebody else might have them or seen them or know what happened to them. Or anyway.
Fingers crossed.
In a plastic bag with some elastic bands on them, so like a bread bag or something, And that's So that's it. I haven't seen them since.
All right,
anyway.
And they may be still out there somewhere as the snow reveals its secrets.
Yeah. That's true, but well, if they're just in the snow and they haven't been torn up by a plow or something, they'd probably be still okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, you never know. So
fingers
anyway,
crossed.
That's it. And if someone does find them and phone, ask them to leave me a message because I'm back and forth all the time, So anyway.
All right. Appreciate that, Jim. Thank you.
And a phone number, and I'll get back to them. Right.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Betty. You're on the air. Hi, Betty.
Hello. I was wondering why the Young and the Restless is not on 12:30 anymore.
Okay. So is it not on at all, or is it just moved times?
No, not on at all. It used to be on 12:30 every day to 1:30.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. I haven't watched daytime TV in a very long time.
I haven't got a phone book. I can't get in TV number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the only thing I thought.
Yeah, I'm doing a little Google thing here, and the suggestion is that it may be more than just locally. Oh, it's due to March Madness basketball, so they changed the scheduling.
Oh, okay.
It should be.
When it's going to be on?
Yeah, yesterday and today, and it should be back on Monday.
Oh, yeah, but what time?
At the regular time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just a scheduling change, that's all. But the show's still on the go, and apparently it'll be back on Monday.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, I can I can hear her now. My mother-in-law was a religious follower of Young and the Restless, God rest her soul. And I would imagine that I would be fielding those calls myself. Were she still with us, God love her. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And we're back. We're going now to Tom. You're on the air. Hello, Tom.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. I want to thank you for the opportunity to get a little message out there to the general public. I'm Tom, and I'm one of the co-founders of Justice Musical Bridge. We have an event, a gala coming up April 12th at the Majestic Theatre, and wanted to let your listeners know that tickets are on sale at themajestictheatrehill.com. We have great entertainment. We have Jackie Sullivan and Carla Pilgrim. We have Alex Taylor. We have the Punters and the Navigators all performing, and it's going to be a lovely event. For those that don't know what Justice Musical Bridge is, we are a nonprofit charity that provides free music lessons anonymously to underprivileged kids, those that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford it. And we do this through our fundraising. We also provide instrument rentals when necessary, and we also provide transportation to and from lessons for those that are unable to make it due to transportation limitations. And we do all this, like I said, anonymously. So our fundraisers are really what keeps this charity going. And we just want to acknowledge the fact that we lost our co-founder, Amy, to cervical cancer just a short time ago, 2 weeks ago.
That's right. I'm so sorry to hear that.
We want to keep this going in her memory. We started this charity to remember Justin, who wanted to help children so much and those that are underprivileged. And when Justin passed after a short 6 weeks in hospital from colorectal cancer at age 38, this program hit the ground running. Amy and I had a goal of one student, to be able to raise enough money to put a student through lessons and be able to pay for their musical instrument rental and to get them back and forth to lessons via taxi or bus or whatever way we needed to do it for 2024. And then in 2025, we hope to add a second student. But those numbers got thrown out because currently we're doing our due diligence on student number 23.
So, what was Justin's impetus? Like, what made him decide to take on this type of a charity event?
Well, Justin always wanted to, he was an animal lover. He was a music lover. I played in a band with him. Some of the other board of directors played in the bands with him over the years. And he was an animal, child, people in general. Like the day Justin went to hospital, we were booked as a band to perform at a pub downtown for a fundraiser for a lady who had been hospitalized in Edmonton and while and away from home. So we were raising some money. Justin got admitted to hospital because he was so sick, couldn't make the gig. And then on the day he died, we were also booked for a charity, Ricky Dalton's Gainway fundraiser. He was always there. And then we decided, of course, about things we could do. And when he passed, Amy and I and the board of directors formed Justice Musical Bridge. And we got this, like I said, these little goals of getting a student taken care of. So many companies that have bought tickets to the event, like the one that's going to be at the Majestic on April 12th. And those dollars went into the account so that we could help more and more children. And again, that was Justin's thing. He wanted to help. He actually said he wanted a scholarship at his school, which we managed to take care of at Ascension Collegiate out in Dartmouth, and we've been there 2 years in a row since Justin passed. We've been continuously taking in applications and referrals for students that want music lessons, but it's just not feasible for the family to be able to do. And we've been blessed in that way to be able to raise money to take care of this. We prepay everything. If and it sounds morbid to say it now, but Amy and I said, if one of us gets hit by a bus or lightning, we want this to continue. And so that's where our policy of prepaying for the lessons for the children and the students, and some of our high school students, and maybe I think we even have a graduate that's just finished high school, but not quite into post-secondary yet. And of the 22, they're all prepaid. If the charity fails tomorrow or falls tomorrow, we all, are unable to continue. They're paid for. They're taken care of. And now we're looking to bring more kids into the program because we do get a lot of referrals, and we don't want to, discourage anyone from sending a referral. If you're in the field of guidance counselor, social worker, school teacher, someone that knows the child or youth needs this service that we offer, reach out to us and AME, which is music.
Tom, unfortunately, your cell phone is just not doing it for us here today. We're missing a lot of what you're saying.
Down St. Bay. I just pulled over.
Okay, well, you're in a bad spot. That's all I can tell you. So when is this fundraiser?
It's April 12th, and it's going to be at the Majestic Theater.
April 12th, Majestic, and people can get their tickets where?
They can get them at majestictheaterhill.com.
majestictheaterhill.com.
Yeah, that's the Majestic Theater's website. They have a events page there. You just visit that, and you can search up the Justin Musical Bridge Gala.
All right. Well, really appreciate this, Tom. Sorry about the cell phone quality.
Yeah.
We hope you do really well with it, and let us know how you make out.
All right. Thanks so much, Linda.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Cyril. You're on the air. Hi, Cyril.
Yes. Good morning, Linda.
How are you?
Oh, not too bad.
That's good.
I heard a lady on talking about the roads a little while ago, and I figured I'd give you a call.
Yeah, she's the band chief in Flat Bay, so she represents the entire community there, yeah.
Hey, yes, I was going to ask you that because I didn't really get from where she was from, but anyway, she's going to be like a lot of more people looking to get their roads done, and the thing is, stand in line. We're in Lloyd Parrott's district out there. I'm out there in what they call the Southwest Dime. Road leave Trans-Canada Northwest Brook, goes to Southport. And we haven't had any pavement or anything done with our road out there in the 10 years that the Liberal government was in. The only thing they did out there a couple of years ago, they had no other choice because we had lengths of guardrail, 25 and 30 was flipped down on their sides. So I guess they got a little scared for a bus or something over the road. And we had a place out there that in the spring of the year, like now, torn out and everything, the rocks was rolling down from the side of a hill, so they fixed that. But the kind of pavement, I believe they did a couple of times the real bad places, like they put this 50 or 100 to 300 feet of pavement. They did a couple of places like that over the 10 years. The last time we had any real work done out there was when Ross Wiseman was in this district. So right now, we got not one, but we got dozens. I'm surprised. I was talking to Lloyd Parrott's office yesterday. I'm surprised that the guy running the buses down there, a couple of buses, they haven't took over the road because it's not only bang, bang, twists, and there's not only one place, but you got a dozen down here. There's places where we got 20, 30 feet of pavement gone. Only your people driving on the opposite side of the road to get clear of potholes. And so anyways, I was talking to his office yesterday, and she never come out and said what I said a few minutes ago, stand in line, but next thing to it. We got we don't see anything either. The Minister of Transportation was on, and they got outlying places that they're going to do. Now they're going to. Someone tells me that they see it on a website there a while ago. We couldn't find it. That they were going to fix a few culverts down in this area, but other than that, we haven't had anything major. They're going to do any amount of paving or anything. But like I said yesterday, I wasn't up to the Transcanada, but I did go up so far there a few kilometres up the road, and there was a couple of small patches, and that coal patch, well, you see what happens to that. He dumps that down and timed when the heat and everything, when it gets sucked down, the pothole was only half as deep as what he was before, but it's still a nice little pot, if you had to hit it.
Yeah.
Myself, I don't do no traveling on this road nighttime. If we go into Clownville or doctors or anything there, we try to get home before dark, because there's certain places on the road you don't know where to go to get clear of potholes, and they're so big as, not so big as car tires, they're so big as truck tires.
So yeah, like you say, now there's a lot of needs out there.
Oh, there's a lot of needs, and like I said, the Liberal government, they didn't do anything in this area. When they come to the road. Now, this road comes down here. Lloyd Park got a big area. Across down from us, same thing. I got my origins come from Bonavista Bay. Only last night I was talking to a relative of mine down there, and he lives almost down to Bonavista. And the same thing, he said, there's no such thing as going out for a nice drive to go somewhere for a few hours, because he said the road is just not fit to drive over. He only comes into Clownville or go to Bonavista somewhere shopping when they got to. Same thing with us here. You just because you want a few groceries, or you just do it to get out of doors. I think we'll run into Clownville, get them few things down, get a coffee or whatever. No, just when you got to take a machine you're paying $40,000, $50,000 or $60,000 for, and bang, bang, bang over the road all day long. It's just ridiculous. People just not have it.
Yeah.
And wherever you go around, if you just happen to see some of the few of them in around in their graduate, people bundling up, you can see having a little talk, and that's the topic, the road. The road,
yeah, for sure. Cyril, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. I got me rant out for the day. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, certainly a lot of needs out there. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you in the last few minutes of the show. And I see that Chuck Norris, the martial arts master and actor, has passed away at the age of 86. And it was just a week ago he had put out a little video on Instagram saying that, I don't age, I level up. He was turning 86 at that time, and he was showing himself sparring. But I guess the old adage is true, time waits for no man. So Chuck Norris gone at the age of 86. We are going to go now to William. You're on the air. Hi, William.
Well, good day. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for asking. Now, first thing I'll do is I'll wish you the 4 H's: health, hope, happiness, and harmony.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I want to put out a bouquet for the beautiful performance that was put off at Mary Brown Center the other night. It was amazing.
Good to hear.
And Gerard McCarthy from Ireland, he came for one night to play for us Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and you wouldn't see a better concert anywhere in the country. So that's a bouquet of roses to the beautiful performers and individuals that performed. The next point I'd like to bring up is motor vehicles. They could be inspected because they're dangerous vehicles on the road, and individuals haven't got the money to pay to get them repaired, so they just drive them and they don't bother to get them checked or nothing else. So that should be a priority for this new government to look after the health and safety of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. The next point is negative to the government is this MCP office is closed, and you can't get in to see anybody. You got to do it online, but the majority of Newfoundlanders are getting seniors. I'm fortunate to have my 10 in, and the offices should be open for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to go in and talk to somebody or see what they want to get. And the only way you can do it is a computer now. Now, seniors don't have computer. Well, they don't know much about computers.
Is that right? You can't get in to see anybody in MCP?
No, young lady. They won't. It's been closed up since COVID. Because I went down there with this young man, and he had a bad tooth, and he needed his MCP to get the dentist appointment. And we went to the door, and it was locked, and it's a steel door. And he kicked the door. I said, "Please don't kick the door. You'll go to the car and wait." So I rang the bell, and an individual spoke to me, and then he came out and passed me a piece of paper, and he said, "We've been closed since COVID." Now, and people are working at their homes. Now, come on now. And then they can pay, about $300,000 from MCP? Oh, my. Backward times. So that was my two major points, my love. And long may your big jib draw.
Same to you, William. Appreciate your call this morning.
I was very fortunate to come to Newfoundland when I was at the age of almost 8. My dad's a Newfoundlander. He worked on every historical building in this province, slate and copper. He'll be 91, his birthday. His sister used to have the Pink Poodle restaurant on Topsail Road. It was one of the most popular restaurants in the city. And I was privileged to grow up here on this beautiful province. And I served the Canadian Armed Forces with a privilege and traveled the world on taxpayers' money and learned discipline. So every individual in the country should be in the forces or could be in the military for 3 years, and then they can go where they want. But at least teach them some discipline and respect. Because the problem today is individuals don't have respect. And if you're not shown respect at a young age, well, it's hard and difficult to learn respect.
William, I really appreciate your insights this morning. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, and you'll have a very safe weekend.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we are going to go now to Carl Slaney on the beautiful Burin Peninsula. Hello, Carl.
Hey, good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I wanted to have another discussion about the problems we got down here on the Burin Peninsula at the Fortune Head Ecological Reserve. We've had a problem down here for a long time, and it came up in the House yesterday. So I was delighted to hear MHA Paul Pike from Grand Bank Burin bring a petition to the House and encourage the Department of the Environment to clean up the mess we got down here. During the conversation, the back and forth between MHA Pike and Minister of the Environment, the exchange included a lot of good words that I was delighted to hear. Because we've been talking about this I've been talking about this with government for many years, and they're using words that I like. One of the words is environmental disaster. Another phrase was garbage is falling into the Atlantic Ocean. A rich fish habitat. Those types of words are realization of a fact. And the fact is, out at that reserve, call it a reserve if you want, out on the coast, there's garbage falling down into the ocean, and government and Minister Chris Tibbs is well aware of what's going on. And he said in the House yesterday, scolded the Liberals for inaction, and then said he's going to take care of it, which is delightful. He mentioned that this has been on the go for some time, and he's right. This has been on the go for 23 years. And like many things that happens over 23 years, year one is not that bad. And year 23, pretty bad.
Yeah, it only gets worse. Yeah. So, and we're seeing that in a lot of cases, aren't we, Carl? We're seeing that in a lot of areas where I guess there were higher priorities and money had to be spent somewhere, and we only have so much money to go around, and things get left on the back burner and they only get worse.
Exactly that. And a part of a new government, part of government generally, take responsibility for the government and for the Crown and for the assets of the Crown, including doing maintenance. I heard Jim Dinn talking there a little while ago about houses in St. John's belonging to the Crown, belonging to the public, that are falling down because of neglect. So we got an ecological reserve down here in the same situation. It's falling down because of neglect. And I've been saying it for some time, and I've yet to have anybody argue with me. Anybody looked at any of the pictures or any of the videos or been out there? Haven't got a leg to stand on. Ain't like everything.
And Carl?
Government has many.
We're out of time. Sorry about that. We'll talk to you again soon, though. I'm sure of it. Carl Slaney, thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye. And that's it for us for VOCM Open Line for this week. Interesting conversations had, for sure. Brian Callahan will be in next week for a VOCM Open Line as I switch back to the newsroom for a little bit. Do get ready to call him next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye for now.